Welcome to the EMG Sales Podcast here in the Magic Door Studios. My name is Libby Mooney and I'm joined today by...
Liam O'Reilly.
How are you?
Good. Really good, actually. Really excited to be able to come down to the lads here in the Magic Door Studio and talk about EMG sales.
Cool. Well, thanks first of all for joining us on our pilot episode, you could say. So tell me a little bit about Liam. Obviously, I know you a long time. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about Liam and your journey with sales. Like when you were growing up, did you think, oh, I want to be a salesman, or I want to be this, or was it an astronaut kind of thing?
No, I wanted to be a pilot, but that was a dream. And then if you look at where I'm at now, I'm terrified of flying. But however, so I'll take it right back for who I am. So I am from Dublin. I emigrated to Cavan 22 years ago. So most of my mates were all jumping on planes, heading over to Australia and Canada, New Zealand, and I emigrated to Cavan, Baileyborough, 22 years ago. And we have 3 kids. Chloe, 21 this year. We have Lewis, which is 14 and 15 September. And we have Jackson, who is 8 in September.
Yeah.
I joined sales back when I was 21. And it was kind of by mistake. It was a downturn in the economy. I tell everybody my story that I didn't give myself much of a chance at a good career because I didn't listen to my folks when they were telling me to go to school. It was just something that I just wasn't for me. So I didn't have a lot of the qualifications behind me to be able to apply for some of the jobs that some of my friends would have been applying for. So I went into construction quite early on, left school and went into construction, and the downturn in the economy, then I had to leave because there was no work in construction. And then I just came across a job advert looking for door-to-door salespeople, and I applied. And I suppose my career has kind of grown since then, and there's been lots of highs, lots of lows to the career path. I suppose I didn't take it as serious as I probably should quite early on because I thought it was just going to be a stopgap for a couple of months. But when I started, I really enjoyed it. I suppose I enjoyed the culture within the sales environment. It was meeting different people, all different backgrounds, all different shapes and sizes, and we kind of clicked, and it was kind of a family nearly that you're kind of working alongside, and that was addictive to me. And I found it quite easy because I was knocking on people's doors, but it's a little bit like the Magic Door Studio, if I'm being honest. You don't know what is behind that door, and every door to me was like a magic door because you'll get so many different backgrounds of people who are open the door to you, and conversations would lead, down different paths could be for an hour in some cases. And I was listening to so many people's backgrounds, and there was like the similarities with people. Me leaving school quite young, was fantastic, and I suppose it gave me confidence that I wasn't the only one out there that left school quite early, and kind of knocking on 100 people's doors a day and speaking to so many people. That was giving me that boost in life that I needed, and it gave me a great platform. And then I suppose I started in a company called Total Fundraising, and that was predominantly fundraising. Then I went and worked in a marketing company which was selling different products and different services. Still quite young, and I was managing teams. I was a team leader, so I was driving guys around, mainly around Dublin. And then I did like the idea of being able to help and being able to support people. And I worked for Total Fundraising, ranging from helping animals to helping young kids in Africa and other parts of the world, and then also helping kids in Ireland. And it gave me the buzz because I was able to see the difference that we were able to make. So I always had that bit of a streak inside me that I wanted to continue to keep on helping. So I suppose I applied for a position in UNICEF Ireland.
Was it tough? Something completely different, or?
No, it was the very same. It was door to door. It was a team leader role, and I worked for UNICEF for 6 years.
Brilliant.
And I really, really enjoyed it because what the guys in UNICEF were able to do was they were able to provide me with a platform that I didn't necessarily need, a great CV behind me, because again, as I said, that was my biggest stumbling block, was my CV, because I didn't have huge education. You need junior certs and leaving certs and all this sort of stuff, and I didn't have that. So I kind of started at the ground level in UNICEF, and I worked my way up, and I showed them my work ethic, and I was showing them my abilities, and I was showing them that I was a valuable member of the team, and a position came up to become the direct dialogue manager, and I took the position, and thankfully when I interviewed for it, I got the position. So I was managing a team of 40 odd people, but it didn't feel like work. It felt like we were achieving things together as a family, and we were able to hit some incredible results for those guys. And at the time, what was driving a lot of us was the fact that the war in Syria had really got out of hand, and there was so many children who were being displaced, and we were putting the fundraising team, and we were working on, from on the doors to events to telemarketing, and we were all kind of looking at what was going on a day-to-day basis. So everyone had that kind of a bug, and it spent 6 years, and there was 6 great years with UNICEF, and then I suppose I wanted to kind of dip my toe in other markets, and I left and I explored other industries and different marketing campaigns for different companies, and that's what we kind of do now with EMG Sales, is that we have an opportunity to work with multiple different companies, not just the one company, and give people an opportunity to share their story around Ireland. So
Cool.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess it does. And tell me a little bit more about EMG Sales. What is EMG Sales? What do you do?
So EMG Sales stands for Eagle Marketing Group. I get asked that question a lot, especially from new people coming in. What does EMG stand for? So it's Eagle Marketing Group, and there's a bit of a story behind that I'll go through. But EMG Sales is a company that is positioned to help other companies expand their brand. So I suppose you have radio, you have newspapers, you have digital, where companies can use those platforms to advertise their business. Whereas EMG Sales is a little bit different, is that we are direct sales. So it's a face-to-face team. So all of our employees are all paid employees. They come in and they're given a platform of how to communicate effectively with people. And what other businesses do, they come into us and they give us their brand, and they ask us to be able to go out and represent their brand to the standard that any brand would expect to be represented. So they give us their training, all of their branding, from jackets, t-shirts to even stands. And then basically our staff in EMG then will go out there and talk about whatever product or service that company wants to basically talk about. We work with some fantastic clients in the charity sector. We work with some fantastic clients in the commercial sector, and we're continually growing all the time. There is a massive demand for face-to-face because it's an honest way of communicating a product or a service. So
Big time. And do you find that, brands and clients are starting to steer more towards the direct sales, the direct face-to-face side of things?
100%.
Why do you think that is?
Because there's so much going on in the digital world, and people, I suppose, can be bombarded with so much of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose when somebody knocks on your door, or maybe you come across somebody in a shopping center, you can speak to a real person. I think that day of speaking to a real person is becoming very diluted.
Yeah, sure. You ring up to talk about your phone bill, and it's like, "Hi, I'm a robot."
Yeah. And it's very frustrating for people,
Yeah,
me included.
time.
AI is a huge factor as well. So, it's look at, we receive multiple phone calls a week from other clients that have maybe invested in a lot of digital, branding, marketing for years, and that seems to be kind of, they seem to be moving away from it now, because it's just so the cost involved in it is huge, and the return on their investment is getting smaller and smaller. So, as I said, we're not. A lot of people think that direct sales, door-to-door sales, it's a commission only role, and it's not. And that's the thing. For us, we can give people a great, unique platform where they can come in and, be on a salary, be on a contract, that they have security, that they have every other benefit that any other company can provide. If somebody is good at communicating a message and wants to be passionate about a product, service, or brand, well, then we can help them do that. So I suppose, there's multiple different departments in EMG Sales that we can take someone's product, service, or brand and expand it. So
cool. And something that interests me is the business development model.
Yeah.
So
brilliant.
Talk to me about that. What is it? Why do you have it?
So
what does it mean for people?
So this is the thing that really gave look, I can say it, EMG has changed my life, it's changed my family's life. The industry is fantastic. We're surrounded by incredible people. But I can't take the full credit for the BDM, the business development model that EMG Sales have. I was lucky enough to partner with close friend of mine now, Barry O'Connor, who owns a company which is UAG Sales, which they came in from Australia about 7 years ago. And when I met Barry, I suppose just to go back, I was quite lost in direct sales for a long time. After leaving my position in UNICEF, I was lost in terms of I was jumping around multiple different companies, and I just wasn't getting what I felt I was worth. I was given a basic salary if I was lucky enough, or I was given a commission only role that I had to do whatever it took to get sales in. So it was always kind of dangling the carrot in front of you. So you hit X amount of sales and you were getting paid X amount, but it always turns out that you weren't always getting what you expected to get at times. So that was really frustrating. So naturally enough, when you're frustrated in that situation, you're not really going to perform to the best of your ability at times. So I suppose when I come across Barry 7 years ago, it's a remarkable story because it was Valentine's Day. And I always say to him, it was love at first sight between me and you, wasn't it? And he was only back from Australia. He lived in Australia for 10 or 15 years, and he brought his family back to Ireland, which is great. And I suppose there wasn't a huge presence in Ireland at the time. And when I met Baz, it was a case of, this is what we're looking to do, and this is where we're looking to bring our business. Are you interested? And I was really excited about it because he presented me with this business development model. And I looked at the business development model and I was like, I can do that. I was like, I'd done that, but I just didn't get the title that I was, in my opinion, that I was due. I was 30 years of age. What age am I? I'm 38. So I was 31 years of age when I met Baz, and he presented a business development model with me. But when I told Louise, I was like, look, this is the BDM. Because I live in Cavan, I had to commute up and down. Baz's office was in Terranure. So I was kind of going to the south side of Dublin from Cavan. It was an hour and a half each way. It was leaving the house first thing in the morning. It was getting back to the house, late at night. And Louise was, Liam, would you not just try and do something, closer to home, or that's just a little bit less demanding? And I was like, but it was my choice to jump in and do this business because I knew it could change my life. I knew I was really good at it. I knew I was good at talking to people. I knew I was good at sharing a story with people. And that's what really it's all about at the end of the day. And I knew I always wanted to continue to help people and help young entrepreneurs. And I came from that culture of helping and supporting people, and I wanted to continue that journey. So I was like, look, give me 3 months, and I promise you, if after 3 months that we're not seeing the progression that was once promised to me before, I said, then I'll do something different. I'll drive a truck or something, do the traditional job,
Yeah. A real job.
A real job. Like my dad used to tell me, go and get a real job, will you? I was like, I am doing a real job. But it was fantastic for me, I suppose, because I suppose it was a commitment, it was a sacrifice that I had made, and obviously I had to get Louise's permission. I don't want to say permission, but we've 3 kids and we've bills and responsibilities and whatever. So she backed me, which was fantastic, and I worked my backside off for 3 months to show her that this business development model was working. It was going to work, and I had the support of Baz, which is fantastic. So yeah, we joined forces, we joined up together, and I knocked on doors solid for 3 months with him, worked with the team in Dublin. They were fantastic. I was watching other guys develop. I was watching other guys grow through this business development model. And I was just 100% focused on becoming an exec manager because the salary increase was going to change my life. And all I had to do was do what I'd done once before. And it was all there. The tools were all there. I just had to apply them tools on a day-to-day basis to get the results that I really wanted to get. So, Monday to Friday, I had one job to do, which was go and do my job, turn up and do, hit my KPIs each and every single day, which was very, very achievable. 9 months later, I got promoted to an exec manager, and I then was able to relocate back to Cavan and basically open up my own office. And since then, it's changed everything for us because we've multiple locations in Ireland. We've over 30 full-time employees with EMG, that we have a platform to allow people, young entrepreneurs, or maybe people with different backgrounds to come in and to use the very same business development model that you use to get you to your heights and your career. So I'm very proud to have a great business development model that works. It's not something that doesn't work. We've seen it. We have proof that it works from me, from you. Barry was an exec manager in Australia, and multiple other people around the world are business are exec managers because of the business development model. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It is, and it's exciting because when I started in EMG, I was 21, and I was like, "This is too good to be true."
Yeah.
You know, the typical thing of, as you said, like dangle a carrot in front of somebody. But when I seen that, like this is something that can happen, I was like, "I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it," and it took me 11 months.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, 11 months.
But here's the thing: it took you 11 months with no experience.
Yeah.
It took me 9 months, and I had probably 10 years on you.
Yeah.
So you done it really well.
Yeah. But like that, it's all about the support and stuff like that you get from your team. So obviously I had you backing me, I had my team backing me, and we were all going for the one thing, and that was we're getting it.
Yeah.
And once you have that kind of culture and you have that support around you like that it changes the environment that you're in. It changes your mind, it changes your mindset, it changes everything got to do with you as a person. Because like I know when I was 21, I was just out of COVID, like I was wanted to go back to the pub and, you know, do the normal stuff that 21-year-olds do. But when you have people there that are like-minded, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be it good or bad. So like obviously I would have had a group of friends back then that would have always been in the pub, always, every single weekend, and then I'd be coming into.
But that was the culture. That's
big time.
That's the Irish mentality, I think,
Yeah.
sometimes. But the problem, and I think it is changing, which is good. But in small country towns, you know, all you do at the weekend is drink.
Yeah, big time.
And I seen that in you actually when you started.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part for us, is because we have such a unique platform for people to come in, and it is a career at the end. I've been in this career for the last 17 years. I've traveled the world because of, only recently, mind you, I've traveled the world with the company that we work alongside, which is the Trinity Group.
Yeah.
You know, they're massive in terms of opportunity, from Australia to America to
New Zealand, the UK.
yeah, they're all over the world, which is great. And to have like Danny, which is in Australia, you have Paul, and they have a wealth of knowledge, and then you have Baz, and then you have myself, and then so all of these people that are constantly talking about helping young entrepreneurs progress and develop and making. The one thing I really liked about it was, because I was that guy too who liked to go out and have a few drinks at the weekend, was that they have your back and they want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when I seen you coming in at the start, I seen no different than most people come in, is that you work for the weekend and you go out the weekend. Oh, you know, you go and get pissed. But I suppose it was the business development model that was in place that kind of kept you grounded nearly, wasn't it?
Yeah, big time. Because like when I did first start, it was every weekend. Like sure, during COVID, I was working in the pub that I used to drink in. So like as soon as I'd finish my shift, straight on the drink.
Yeah.
And then that'd be it until 12 or 1 o'clock until close. And it like the whole way through the week.
Yeah.
And I was working with one of my friends as well. And every time that we were together, we were just drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So like coming out of that now, I'm still great friends with that girl now, but it's completely different because we're having normal conversations. Instead of going drinking, we're going for dinner.
Yeah.
Or we're going and grabbing a coffee, or we're meeting in the hair salon because we're both getting our hair done. Do you know that kind of way?
Not going with a hangover.
Yeah, absolutely. And it completely changes the conversations that you even have with that person then, because it's not, oh, look at that, why are they wearing that? Oh, look, they're chatting shit about whatever, like, because it's the same.
But that happens. That's just a culture, I think, and it's right across Ireland. I think it's just it's an easy mentality to have, is look at other people and kind of talk shit about them, really.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's like, from traveling the world and looking at other industry, not looking at other industries, but looking at other markets in our industry. You know, they have a different perception of our industry, and I suppose a lot more driven on bigger goals and being excited about being able to have a career where you can reach. Actually, there's no real limits in it. You know, you can grow as far and as high as you want. But I suppose it's having that small mindset, and that's like, here's the thing, going back again, right? For me, was going back to leaving school early. And then, because I was always the class clown, you could say, I just wasn't interested. And as my wife says now, she says, you're just riddled with ADHD. And maybe I am. I'm self-diagnosed or whatever. And I just couldn't concentrate. And then I diagnosed myself with dyslexia. And if someone asked me to spell it, I'm like, no, that's my diagnosis there. But I mean, so, it's looking at that. And for me, then it was having an industry like EMG sales, direct sales, was giving me that second chance to be able to change my life. Because the first half of my life, as I said to you, was just it was a mess. And the second half of my life was able to be changed because I surround myself with like-minded people. And I always I'm very careful of my circle now, because I remember hearing a quote once upon a time from an ex-leader of mine. And he said, Liam, just be careful who you surround yourself with. He said, be very careful on who your circle is. He said, because if you're surrounded by 4 people who just like to go out and get pissed at the weekend and do whatever else, you'll end up being the 5th person. And it kind of, spoke volumes to me, because I was looking at my circle and I was like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your friends. It could be family. It could be whoever, work colleagues.
Anybody at all.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, you're looking at this going, this is mental, how it does have such an influence on your life and on your outlook. And then something I always use is I'll never take swimming lessons off somebody who can't swim.
Yeah.
So when I jumped in and joined the business, I was looking at people who could swim and could swim very, very well, and very successful people. But I was also surrounding myself with people who are constantly talking about bettering themselves, improving themselves, because there's no point in, dwelling on the past. There's nothing you can do about the past, but there's definitely something you can do about the future. And it's not about predicting the future, but it's about giving yourself a chance by surrounding yourself with the right people and who are talking about achieving some great things. And I'm not talking about becoming a billionaire or a millionaire. It's about just having a better quality of life sometimes. Yeah. And that comes down to mental health is a huge issue in the world right now. And I'd say a lot of it comes down to the amount of screen time that people, choose to spend on their phone.
Yeah.
Whereas our industry, you don't get a chance to sit on your phone all day because you're constantly outdoors. You're constantly speaking to different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your brain is constantly working. And I remember bringing my daughter Chloe into direct sales, and she was very much an introverted person. Like trying to have a conversation with her, even trying to get her to go in and buy an ice cream in the shop once upon a time was a mission in itself. And I just said to Louise one night, I went, you know what? She went up to her room and she was just in a bit of a huff. And she was just sitting, and I said to myself, she's spending way too much time in her room. And the sun could be splitting the stones, right? And she's just up there, and I'm just like, she's wasting herself up there. She's 18. And I went into her and I went, right, look, I said, you have a job tomorrow. She goes, what? And I goes, you have a job tomorrow. She goes, doing what? And I went, EMG sales. She goes, absolutely not. And I went, why? She goes, Dad, I could never do that. And I went, well, that's what you're telling yourself, but I know you can.
Yeah.
So I sat down on the side of the bed with her and I said, right, I said, do it for me, and I promise you it will change how your environment is right now. And our environment is just sitting in a room.
Yeah.
There was no real excitement. I said, just trust me on this, will you? I said, you'll be absolutely fine. And I remember bringing her in the very first day. I think you can remember her on the very first day.
Yeah.
How nervous she was. She was petrified.
Yeah.
That changed her life because it gave her the confidence to go to college.
Yeah.
It gave her the confidence, even now she's in a relationship and she's such a different person.
Big time.
And I've seen it in her. Louise has seen it in her. We've all seen in her now. Now she's up in Dublin. We can barely get her home to Cavan.
Yeah.
She's driving. She's full-time. Like, she smashed her driving test. And that's all because of, and I can't say it's all because of EMG sales, but I know her communication skills is completely flipped.
Big time. Because you're put into that position where it's like, okay, I need to do this, but I need to speak to people for me to be able to do this. Like it's a ripple effect. And the first time that you say hello to somebody, then it just snowballs and it's like, yes, it's a ripple effect.
Of course it
and
is.
it can be big time, absolutely addictive. Like, so many people ask me in the evenings, am I not tired? I'm like, no.
Well, you're working off other people's energy. I remember
I
was talking to Chloe last night over dinner, and I said, do you miss it? And she goes, I do miss it. And I said, what do you miss about it? She goes, I miss actually helping people. She told me about a story that she found €50, and she was actually with you, and she found €50 outside a garage one day,
Mm.
and it had fallen out of a guy's pocket, and he was actually putting air in the tires of his car, and but he was in a wheelchair, and the €50 fell out of his pocket, and she was like, "Where do I put the €50?" And she was like, "Do I put it back into the garage? But they'll probably put it in their pocket." And just so happens she's seen from the corner of her eye, because she was working at I don't know, maybe an Apple Green or something.
Mm.
And she seen the guy, who was looking for his €50, and it was for the fuel of his car as well after putting the air in his tire. So you can imagine this guy who has a disability, physical disability,
Yeah.
in a wheelchair, just lost €50. And then there Chloe is, who this once upon a time was a girl that was up in her bedroom that wouldn't speak to anybody, has now gone over to this guy and give him the €50.
Yeah.
And he was over the moon with her.
Yeah.
But the fact of that, she was actually working for a campaign that helped young kids with physical and intellectual disabilities.
Yeah.
So the connection was there, and that was a buzz to her, because she's seen firsthand, A, of someone who has a disability, but B, is that her job was about helping other people, and that was 2-3 years ago, and she still talks about
Yeah.
that experience.
Yeah. Like doing this from doors to sites, it doesn't matter what side of the fundraising you're doing, or the what side of the sales you're doing. You can either be doing doors or you can do sites, and every single interaction is different. So the doors are different to the events, but at the same time it's the exact same, because you're still having that connection with somebody. And that's, I suppose, probably the most important part of our business, is building a connection for somebody and giving them an experience rather than trying to shove a product down somebody's throat. And that's why we're so successful, is that we don't look at it as, this is a product, buy this product. It's, how are you?
Yeah.
What's your connection to this?
Yeah. It's the right focus. It's, as I said, I think so many people have the wrong perception of direct sales at times, because many years ago, I remember when I came into the industry for the very first time, it was a very heavily commission only industry. And you can imagine sending your son or daughter, imagine me sending Chloe out, for example, who was very much, quite intimidated at the best of times.
Yeah.
Sending her into an environment where she's surrounded by all of these people who have big egos, let's say. And her coming home at the end of the week after me seeing physically her, spending money to get to and from work, and then at the end of the week, looking at her wages, or her going, "Can I have a lend of money?" And then going, "But you've been working all week. Why have you got any money?" "Well, I didn't make any sales, so I don't get any commission." So that was happening a hell of a lot in Ireland,
Yeah.
and across the world, because there was a lot of companies that were promoting this commission only role. And, there's only a certain amount of people who can get it very quickly, and
Yeah.
start making money straight away. The vast majority of people take a couple of weeks before they kind of find their feet, because they need the right training and the right support. So it had it got a really bad reputation, because there was so many people, and parents, and rightly so, were like, "You got my child to work for a full week, or got my son, or got my husband or wife to work for a week and didn't pay them." So
Yeah.
our model is a complete employment model. Everybody comes in, and earns €30,000 as a basic salary for us, because we want people to feel comfortable to be able to pay their bills.
Yeah.
It's not a commission. A lot of people think, "Oh, you're just there for commission." We're not. The number one focus for us is making sure that we can deliver a quality standard to our client, and we can communicate their whatever their product or their service is. The product comes first, the service comes first.
Yeah.
And then in return, you have a business development model that's in place that will reward you for, your performance is rewarded, but your work ethic is rewarded. Your talent is also rewarded, and that's a great way. Then you can share that with other people, and you can move your way up a business development model. So a lot of people for years has always thought, "Oh, you're commission only," or that you're just there to make money. If you're there to make money, it's going to be a very, very short window,
Yeah.
But for us, it's about giving somebody a real path that they can have a successful career and enjoy it, most importantly. Because
Yeah.
remember, my story is quite unique to our industry, is that I've started right from the bottom. I was able to work my way up, and now successfully run my own company with great people like you, Libby. But like things like, let's go to Tato Park, or Emerald Park as it's called now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just take the day off and just go to Emerald Park,
Sure. Why are you doing that?
because we can. And because I don't just see people as numbers, I see them as people. And I see how hard that they actually work. So
And you've done it yourself.
exactly.
Like when you're like, say for example, if you're working in a factory,
Yeah.
the people that are up the top have never worked a day on the line.
No, because their CV has got them there. And no disrespect them, they've worked hard maybe in college or whatever. But it's the people, as you said, down on the production line that are they ever going to get up there? Because their CV doesn't allow them, but that doesn't mean that they're not able to.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think so many people in Ireland especially has that it's, well, you can't be successful unless you go to college.
Yeah.
Where of course you can. Like I went to a PLC and I did excuse me, but I went to a PLC. I did it twice. And I'm not doing anything got to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, I am a little bit, but that's completely different.
Of course.
Like that's a hobby. That's for fun. That's for an unwind. Whereas my career is with EMG.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I feel like that's where you'll either be successful or you won't be successful. Is if you look at it as just a job, you will treat it as just a job and you won't be as happy as you should be.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're looking at it as a career or looking at it as a way for you to be successful, looking at it in the way that it's going to change your life, because it does change your life. Like,
but it changes, when I say changes your life, right? And a lot of people like, oh, change your life in terms of becoming a millionaire. I have no desire to become a millionaire. That's not my desire. When I say to people about the sound of, oh, you're a millionaire, it sounds great, doesn't it? But that's not my main desire. Like, my life is being changed because of our company. It's because of the mindset that I have in the company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's the why it's changed, because I'm around the right people and my outlook is completely different and it's a lot more positive. That's why it's changed my life. Whereas before, I've surrounded myself with the wrong people, and therefore then my life is it just seems to be constant misery and negative and just people just complaining all the time. And I'm like, when you jump into that environment where people are, yeah, I know, and there's a lot of it, like, don't get me wrong, we all get negative sometimes, but it's like, but when you're surrounding yourself with people who are just constantly uplifting you, it does change your life, because then you're like, little habits. I remember one person said to me once upon a time was, the first thing you should do every single day, he said, just make your bed. And I was like, how is that going to make a difference? And I shit you not, since he has said that to me, or they said that to me, I can't remember who exactly it was, and I just got up now. When I say I make my bed, Louise she'll
go after.
Yeah, because she's like, you're not doing it right. But I'm like going back to it, and I'm like, because I've done something simple and a little small achievement, that in itself has changed. It might sound a bit crazy, it's changed your life, because it's like, now you're not walking into a room where it's messy, but you feel like you've achieved something.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
First thing in the morning when you make your bed is that sense of achievement then, because it's like, okay, that's done. One task complete.
That's just an example. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? So that's even something as simple as that is when I say it kind of changes. It changes your environment. So, you know, when you change the way you think, I think you change the way that you can live sometimes.
Big time. All the time. Because if you're like, there's too many negative things that's happening in the world regardless anyway.
So much.
Like, if you're going to be constantly hung up on that, you're not going to be able to enjoy the now. So how are you going to be able to enjoy the tomorrow or the next week?
Yeah.
And some people aren't even lucky enough to have that option. That next week just doesn't come. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of part and parcel with another side of the business with EMG is you travel. You get to see the world.
We've done a bit of traveling.
Yeah. Like,
You've done a bit of traveling.
yeah, I have 18 times in the last 3.5 years I've been out of the country.
Yeah. But a lot of it is down to a lot of people think, oh, you're great, you know, you're traveling the world. And you are traveling the world, and that's the whole idea of, I suppose, partnering with a company like Trinity and UAG, and you have a support network that stems way above, you know, Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reach that we can have, which I'm really excited about, because, you know, I had a meeting with Paul the other day, and he's talking about, you know, clients in Poland, working in Poland. I was like, how are we going to get over that language barrier? But it's a case of, and his response is, don't know, but we'll figure a way out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, you know, another way of looking at, kind of going, look at the world. It's a big world, and why shouldn't it be explored? And I'm always talking about my kids, going, look, explore. So, yeah, travel has been a big part of EMG. We've said it for years that, and I've always said it, that if we have an opportunity to travel and show people the world, because obviously I live in Cavan, you live in Cavan, great county to live in.
Yeah.
365 lakes a day.
One for every day of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it can be a little bit lonely sometimes, you know, especially if you're from Dublin, I'm from Dublin. It's a little bit different, and you can get a little bit closed in sometimes. And I was like, right, we have to, you know, part of our business in Bailieborough was about kind of getting out and showing people that may have not had that opportunity to explore the world is, you know, let's get out and maybe look at other companies. And we got to go off to Australia. You did get the opportunity to go to Australia, but you turned it down.
I couldn't go.
And you could.
I could have went, yeah, but like,
yeah. But look,
it was bad timing.
Yeah, the timing just wasn't right. But
Yeah.
I got to go over. And here's the other thing is that, as I said, that was never going to be an option for me in life, I don't think, because I had obviously gone over. I was over 30, so it was, you know, and it was way too expensive to get over to Australia for me, especially having kids and bills and responsibilities and stuff like that. And another part of this business that's changed my life is that it has allowed me to kind of see parts of the world that I never in a million years thought I was going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Because you needed a trade to go to Australia, and I was seeing guys going over to Australia and other parts of the world, and I was like, what's the criteria? Yeah, you need a trade. I was like, well, I didn't get an education to get that trade, but I have a trade in sales. That's the way I kind of look at it now. But yeah, when I got to jump on a plane and head across to Australia, that was life changing for me. It was an eye opener going, wow. And the good thing I loved about it is the fact that you know, that's the company was willing to invest in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if they're willing to do that for me, which no other company has ever done before, I'm going to make sure that I invest in them. And they gave me 100%. I was like, right, I'm going to give them 100%.
Yeah.
And that basically was my work ethic and getting us to where we are now as a company in EMG, and being able to partner with companies like the Magic Door Studio. It just constantly keeps on opening magic doors.
Yeah, literally.
But you've done a bit of traveling.
Yeah, I've been... Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah, I've been out of the country 18 times in the last 3.5 years. But a lot of that is traveling with work, but it's also a lot of personal, you know, maybe weekend breaks or holidays with my boyfriend, or, you know, whatever it is. But it's still that opportunity to get on a plane and get out of Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, the weather here is hit or miss. Like, thank God at the moment we have great weather, but you're still going to find people
But that's not just blood pressure then, no?
No. But like, you're still going to find people that want to complain about it. Oh, it's too hot. What do you mean? Like, you'd be crying if
Remember
it's
the
raining.
day we had somebody leave the site because they said it was too warm in Ireland? They're like, we have to go home. Why? It's too warm. I can't work in the heat.
Yeah, like, what?
I was like, it's 21 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lads in Australia are working in fucking 40 degrees.
And wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
You know, the difference is just. But look, you know, there was a bit of fun involved in that as well. So,
but that's the thing. Like, it's like, I've been to Mexico. I remember watching a YouTube vlog years ago of Ellie Kelly and her ex. They went to Cancun, and I was like, oh, I'd love to go there.
Yeah,
I'd love to go there. But then I actually looked into it, and it was so expensive. And at the time, I think I was actually working in a petrol station at this time.
Yeah. When
I watched that, but like, when you look at it now, it's like, holy shit.
What you've been able to achieve. Sometimes you have to look back and say, you know, how far you've come, you know, and that's the thing about a career, you know, and there's many other careers out there, but I mean, it's looking back at where you've started and where you are. And one thing I always say is, you haven't come this far to come this far, Liam. And there's so much more to give. There's so much more to give. And there's so many magic doors to open, as I always say. But, you know, and I'm loving the journey that we're on. And I'm also loving the fact of new people coming in and joining the business. And we have some great people who, you know, we have a guy, Jack, at the minute, which is a fountain of knowledge that has come in, you know, which is Gary went through an interview a couple of weeks ago. I think he said it was like one of his mates had personally mentioned EMG Sales.
Ryan.
Was it Ryan?
It was Ryan.
Yeah.
I think so, because they used to work together.
Yeah, and he was like, is there any chance a friend of mine can come in for an interview? And I hadn't got time to do it, and I don't think you had time to do it. And it was like, well, Gary, who's, I suppose, is a team leader and also had no experience, he was like, well, I'll do the interview. And I was like, go for it.
Yeah.
And Ryan is now one of the highest performers in EMG Sales. And not Ryan, sorry, Ryan. Yeah, well, he also.
Well, Ryan is one of the highest performers as well.
I mean, Jack is also incredibly talented.
Yeah.
But he never knew he had that skill. But even around someone like Jack, and I said to you today when I put up a message into the group, was a case of, you know, as quickly as quick as a negative thought will come, remove it, because it's a cloud that will hang over you all day. And I was like, that's just powerful. He's like, because if you sit on that negative thought for the day, it'll just completely consume you. Jack is maybe 23, 24 years of age. And I was sitting there going, I've never heard, and I would be very big onto my quotes and listening to manifestation of, you know, different ways of looking at different things. But surrounding, again, it was just one of those moments where it's like, well done for continuing to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's for me then looking at clients that are choosing to choose EMG, is that these are the type of people that they're getting on their campaigns, and they speak with so much passion.
Yeah.
You know, they have unbelievable passion about the campaigns that they're working on, and
But
sometimes
it's real.
yeah,
Like they're real stories. Like
correct.
the other day, we got a bit of bad news, and it was like about somebody that had passed away.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could have taken the day off work. I could have been like, oh, I'm upset today, which, yeah, granted. But instead, I went out and I chatted to people, because there's people that's in the same boat that I can help by just having the chats with people and letting them know what's going on. So I feel like the guys that we have in Navan and Cavan and Limerick is the exact same. That it's the passion is there because it is real. It's not just something that's made up, or, you know, a thing here, buy this. It's, well, there's an animal that needs your help. There's a child that needs your help. There's an adult that needs your help. There's anybody. Like, it's not just, here you go. There's a human connection to it as well.
Or maybe even move your waste onto a cheaper provider.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's what I mean. It's great because it's able to provide a service that people don't know about.
Yeah.
But when I say don't know about, when they say don't know about it, is that obviously you had a close family member pass away during the week, you know, but there's some people out there who are quite lonely and don't know there's other services out there, and they meet someone like us and we're able to communicate that, even down to, you know, some of the clients that we work with that help young little girls and boys with serious illnesses.
Yeah.
That you come across and they're like, I never even knew that you guys existed.
Yep.
So the advertisement that we give to people because of that connection, that's something that money just doesn't buy. Because like I said earlier on about the digital world, you know, people, like we all do, we scroll and we, you know, go past it. And I think our brain is just becoming, you know, so used to flicking all the time and go by it. But when you actually stop and have a conversation with somebody about maybe a story that has affected me personally, and I've heard so many personal stories over the years, you know, that I love to talk about and share with people because they're real stories and the real people behind them, is that's just, and I don't like talking about it like advertising, but it is advertising that money just cannot buy. And when you have somebody that is focused and who has a career and who is genuine, and they're not, as the industry has always taught, that they're not just out there for commission only, because that's not our model, is the fact that they're out there because they want to be out there.
Yeah.
You know, not that they have to be out there, is that they get to be out there because they want to be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the good thing I love about our industry. And I have to say, I've always been very protective of the industry because in Ireland, it's a very small industry in direct sales. And as I said, the whole commission-only structure for years was very frustrating for me because you'd see so many people coming in, and to no fault of their own, what they were doing is that they were incentivized by the more sales that you can generate, you know, in different industries, the more money, the more revenue you could have. And I used to say this smash and grab mentality is killing our industry.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, you have people that are going out there, they've no interest in having a career, but then you have somebody like Liam O'Reilly that's there who's looking to build a career, and I have a young family and I've your bills and mortgages like everybody else. I'm just like, somebody's coming in and they're doing harm to our industry.
Yeah.
I got so frustrated, I got so annoyed about it. You know, so when now we have, you know, and I'm not just saying that, I know there's some fantastic other companies out there that have an employment model in place for people who are genuinely interested in growing. It really takes away from all the messes that want to just come in and just think that they can abuse the market, because that's the most harmful thing. It affects our industry because it affects everyone's jobs, and then it kind of gives uncertainty to clients that may be thinking about going with, you know, a client like EMG Sales, because they might think that, you know, oh, they only pay on commission. We don't. We make sure that everybody gets paid a decent salary,
Yeah.
which, as I said, up to minimum in the EMG is 30,000 a year, which, you know,
Like, where do you get that starting out?
well, we value the people that work for us, and this is the thing. And I'm not saying other companies don't, but we value people. Like we see the cost of living in Ireland is, it's not cheap to live in this country.
No,
And
it's not.
when you think about house prices, and most people that work with us, they don't have a mortgage, but they have bills like rent to pay, and the rent in Ireland is quite high. So we have to kind of match that, and we like to think that the guys who work with us are very well looked after, not just financially, and it's not all about financial.
Support,
It's
training,
stability,
help.
it's support, and that's something that we're looking for. And again, people's story like yours, Libby, is something that I always share. Regardless of your background, regardless of your CV, if you have a good attitude, if you have a work ethic, you'll do okay. You'll do absolutely fine. Do you have to work? Of course you have to. There's not an industry out there that's just going to give you a job.
If you were working in a, as they say, normal job or a real job like construction, you have to do the heavy lifting.
Yes, you do.
All you have to do is talk to people with a bit of passion and enjoy the journey.
Yep.
Because that's what it's all about, is the journey. Like the destination, every single one of us in the world has the exact same destination, the exact same stop. But
that's deep.
But it's the reality of it, like.
But it is. But that's the thing. My dad always says to us, Liam, we're all at the same. We're all at a bus stop. So we're all there. The bus will come one day for you. So just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it with the right people, which is most important. Okay, I feel we're probably getting a little bit deep there.
Yeah.
A bit dark. Yeah, but it's good though. It's it's.
Do we have a lamp in here that I can throw it at you to lighten up?
Oh my god.
The dad jokes are
okay,
brilliant.
cool. I have a question for you.
Right, go on.
What's the key moments that's helped your journey to where you are now?
Definitely the conferences.
Okay.
Definitely. Down to the likes of the Next Gens or the High Achievers conferences.
Yeah.
They've kept my brain focused on the business development model. And like obviously listening to the likes of you, I work with you every day. But when we're at them conferences, I'm getting to listen to the likes of Paul, to the likes of Danny spoke at one of our awards, to the likes of Baz, Keane, like anybody that has went through the business development model, and it's like, oh, well, if they can do that, I can do that. And I have so much more time.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm younger and it's like, I can grab that now and have more time to enjoy it. That kind of way. So it would definitely be the likes of the conferences. Because like that, it's surrounding yourself with people that are focused and that want to do better for themselves, but want you to do better for yourself too. So that it's definitely the conferences.
Okay. On a day-to-day basis, like what's it like in EMG sales?
It's unbelievable, to be honest with you. We're like with the guys in Cavan. So
you're managing the Cavan team.
Yeah. So at the moment, it's just girls.
Okay.
And if anybody
was that intentional?
No, it just happened.
Right.
But if anybody knows girls,
shout out to the girls. Who have you got?
We have Shannon, Mia, Libby Squared, and Aisling, and then myself. But like when girls are on the same page and girls want girls to succeed.
Steady on now.
No, but it's like it's that like girl.
Yeah.
The girlhood is like women that have women's backs are unstoppable.
We done the women empowerment conference a couple of years ago
with Marie Gleason.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And it was every woman in the company, from EMG to UAG to Halo to Trinity to like every single one of them, be it office.
It's
like
a very sorry to cut across you, but it's a very male dominated industry. It has been for years, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course. But sure. So
that was your attitude when you come in. Was just like,
I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I always thought that I got on with lads better than I got on with girls. But that's because when I was growing up, I was a tomboy. Like I'd be out in building sites, and like I grew up in a council estate, like.
Yeah.
So like I was outside having fun, but it was a lot of lads, and I didn't care if I was getting my tracksuit dirty, because sure, what about it? It can be washed. So
You know what they used to say?
Oh,
A dirty child is a happy child.
oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But when I look at it now, it's okay. At that time, I get on with lads better than I get on with girls. Whereas when I'm in this, like in this industry, with the people that we work with, it's where there's respect. So like, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. The support is still there. It's the same. The respect is still there. It's the same. Like, I would never, ever have thought that something that's so male dominated could be so welcoming to women. But it is.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's not, is there anything that we can do to help you? It's, come on, you've got this.
Yeah.
Instead of like babying somebody. Like, you can't baby somebody that's 25 years of age. I'm sorry. Like, that's not what your job is.
I've seen in the last, mainly since you've joined EMG, right? I've seen the industry completely, well, from what I can see, you know, especially in our network amongst Halo, UAG and so on. Maybe because I have 5 sisters too, but I've seen, you know, you take the industry to another level when it comes to bringing, you know, different females into the business. Like, you were the first female exec manager in Europe in our industry, right?
Yeah.
11 months from start. And I wouldn't say to finish because it has still been 4 years later.
Yeah.
You know, but like you're not stopping. The fire is still as, you know, it's still as predominant as it was nearly from day one.
Yeah. Like,
that's really inspirational. Does anyone ever say to you, does any of the girls ever go, Libby, you are an inspiration?
Oh, Shannon, Mia, Aisling, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. See, we like, I don't know what that stutter was there, but we work so close together, and you know, sometimes the rejection can get to people. Whereas when I get rejected with anything at all on the stand, I'm like, okay, cool. Or say if somebody's rude or something like that, it's like, how do you deal with that? That's not a reflection on me. Like, that's a reflection on that person. They could have just got the worst news of their life.
Yeah.
And I'm there, oh, hi, yeah, how are you? They don't want to see somebody smiling.
Spreading your positivity.
Yeah, like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Do you know that kind of way? So, like, the way that I look at it is, if somebody's having a shit day, just give them a smile.
Yeah.
But when it comes to stuff like that, like, Aisling has said it to me so many times, even outside of work, like, that she looks at me like a big sister. And Chloe was the same.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, Rachel, her little sister's the same. It's because of the way that my mind is as long as you are giving yourself 110% and giving me 110%, I'll give you 110%.
Yeah.
And I'll help you get to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more so my work ethic and my mindset that people admire is, I don't give a shit. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. So like that, I overtook my trainer, who again was a man. I didn't care. I was like, haha, I got there first. But that's the way that I was looking at it. It was me. I'm doing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care who got there first. I didn't care who got there before us. I'm doing it now. And that's what matters, is now. I don't care about past.
So like, I see on a day-to-day basis, and I see, you know, from start to finish on each day, and I see it giving 100%. But what's the main driving force behind Libby? Is it the fact of, because I remember you saying to me so many times, you know, you don't need no man to get you what you want, right? So you've been able to buy your own car, you've been able to be a very independent person.
Yeah.
Is that main driving force for you, or
Independence?
Yeah.
It would be, yeah. And yeah, I used to be like that. Oh, like, I don't need a man. Like, I don't. Nobody needs anybody. Like, if you were to look at it, like, I've looked at my mom. From the age of 9, she raised me on her own. Like, my sister, she raised my sister up until the age of 12 on her own. Like, I look at my mom, and my mom is my biggest inspiration with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my sister as well. She's currently raising her son, 16 years of age, with autism. Like, smashing raising him. Yeah. Doing everything she possibly can. Put her whole life on hold to make sure that he got what he needed so he could be successful in school. And then she went back to college herself. But I look at stuff like that and it's like, I don't need anybody. as long as I'm happy with the people that's in my circle, people that's around me, as long as I'm getting the support that I need and that I deserve. Because to be honest with you, women think, and it's I was listening to a podcast yesterday about Jenny Poole, and it's a very, very sad story, but the girl that was running the podcast, she was saying that like women don't realize what they deserve.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I deserve to be an executive manager just the same as a man does. You know, that kind of way.
Absolutely.
So it comes down to, what do you want for yourself? And what I want for myself is choices. I want to be able to say, well, do I want to go to France next weekend for the bank holiday weekend? Or what do I want to do? It's what do I want to do? What's going to make me happy in my life? Because we only have one. And like, it's short enough as it is. Don't make it shorter by relying on somebody.
I love that.
Because you're gonna be let down. If
Yeah,
you
but
rely
it's
on
good
somebody.
it's good to obviously have people around you.
Oh, absolutely.
But
like
independence is something that I know you're very strong
Yep.
on. What is it? What, like, to somebody listening to this, what is an executive manager at EMG? I've spoke about it. You spoke about it. What is an exec manager? Like, what do you do
On a day-to-day basis?
Or like, what is it like? What does it look like? Is it
So coaching and mentoring, you know, the team and motivating them and finding their hot buttons.
Yeah.
Because we all have hot buttons. Like,
what's a hot button?
whatever excites you. Like, I mean, I know, for example, with you for a while, it was your house.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, what about buying a house? When you get maybe tired or when somebody does reject you and it gets to you, it's like, well, hold on a minute. Do you not have goals to get? And it's like, do you know what? You're right. I do. I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself, because we can all do that, but it's not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah.
So
what you're doing, you're reminding people then of the reason why not the reason why they're here, because that's like, everybody comes, and the most important thing to everyone is, income. People need to pay their bills.
yeah, of course.
So I suppose what people are coming into EMG or any other industry, I suppose they're given a position,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone is excited at the start. And then what happens is sometimes that, excitement can kind of wear off. As an exec manager, you're really good at reminding people of the values of what they bring to themselves.
Big time.
Like, it's not you versus me, and that's the reason why our industry is quite successful, is because it's about supporting each other along the way. But most importantly, as we always say, it's you versus you.
Yep.
On a day-to-day basis. It's you get out of bed this morning. You were the one who got yourself here.
Yeah.
You were the one that applied for the position. So as an exec manager, I suppose you're really good at communicating that and reminding people that.
Yeah, because why wouldn't I want to big somebody up?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, somebody could be underperforming. What's giving out to them going to do? It's going to make somebody who feels maybe shit already because they're underperforming. It's going to make them feel worse because they know they're underperforming. The team knows they're underperforming. And instead of saying, you're not good at this, it's, come on, you're good at this.
Yeah.
Get your head out of your arse. Do you not have a car you want to get? And it's like, oh yeah, I do. But what? The only thing that's stopping you is yourself.
Yeah.
So get out of your head. Go and talk to as many people as you can. Put a smile on somebody else's face. Because by putting a smile on someone else's face, you'll put a smile on your own face. Said it to somebody yesterday.
But smiling is contagious, though, right?
Absolutely, it is.
Is smiling? That it is a fact?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you just look at me like that and smile, I'm just like, she's a psychopath over there, just smiling at me. But they say it's just like yawning, isn't it? They say is yeah.
And do you know, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
There you go. So
if you want to get good facial muscles, frown a lot.
Who needs Botox?
Honestly.
What's next then for Libby?
Ownership.
Okay.
Ownership and expansion.
Yeah.
So obviously travel is a big thing for me. And exploring the world, big thing to me. But at the end of the day, it's like, realistically, 90% of people around my age, around my town, has gone. They're gone to Australia or America or Canada, whatever.
Is that on the cards for you?
Potentially. But I need to figure out what exactly I want. Do I want to go on a 3-month holiday visa? Do I want to go for a year, 2 years? Where does that leave me then with
Why?
EMG sales?
So why do you, like, obviously you're fairly well on in your career with EMG, right? And we've had some really successful people in the past, and they've, spread their wings and they've gone overseas and they've gone to Australia. What's the main reason that people, like, the main reason why I see people going to Australia, New Zealand? Obviously the climate is completely different, right?
Yeah.
But mainly people go because of income, right?
Yeah.
To make more money.
And the lifestyle.
Yeah.
But my lifestyle here is just as good as somebody in Australia.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is my lifestyle, like, I don't sit around I don't really drink anymore at all. Whereas
Snap.
some people, sure, you're off to drink, what?
6
5
months.
months? 6 months.
This month.
There you go, like. But that's because of the discipline that you have.
I'll tell you what it is, actually, right? And it's so inspirational to see so many other people change and see people doing the podcasts, right? And listening to so many people's stories. And I think this is a really good platform to use, because I've been able to listen to so many different people's backgrounds, from very similar backgrounds to my own, who've just, like, I'm just changing my whole life, just changing my whole outlook. And they've done it through channels like this, through the Magic Door Studio, right? Very, very same way. And that's what really excited me about this, is because I wanted to open the door to EMG, to show people this is the people behind the name, the EMG, right? And so many people have been so vulnerable in podcasts and opened the door and kind of gone, this is who I am. And the amount of people who've brought us on their journey about stopping drinking because drinking just didn't agree with them, and it didn't agree with me at the best of times. And that was the culture in sales. You go out and you have a couple of points and you go to this conference and that conference. And I was like, no, you don't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I suppose that's a great way of putting, the industry. It's not just all down to drink and going out. It's actually quite productive now, because, so many other people are looking at their health and their fitness.
Yeah.
And the productivity is through the roof,
Yeah.
which is great. So it's great to see that the culture is completely changing, which is good to see. But sorry, the whole Australia culture probably doesn't overly appeal to you, because that...
It's see, when I look at Australia, I look at so many people that's in Australia. And, well, actually, sorry, I have to correct that. I don't look at people anymore. I don't focus on what other people are doing anymore. I don't particularly care.
Yeah.
As long as somebody's doing well, I'm like, go you. But if I'm looking at something, I could have that, I'm never going to be happy with what I have. Like, I've a nice car. I've a great job. Like, I say job, it's not a job to me ever. Like, I literally, like, when I'm going out on site, I'm like, I'm going out with the girls. We're spending time together. We're having the crack. Yeah. We're literally like a little girl gang. That's
like a karaoke. What's it? The carpool karaoke.
Oh my God. You
in that.
see.
And I was looking at that and I pressed play and I had the kids in the car and the kids are like, what is going on in that car? And there you are, the 5 is going down the road and he's just singing from your rooftops. But then, it's a great example of, what to expect when you come into an environment that breeds positivity.
Yeah. And positivity breeds positivity. And again and again and again. It's like dominoes. So you can put dominoes up and put all the hard work in, and you can bang them down, and they're probably going to get so far before it goes off track because of the force that you put behind it. Yeah. But if you lightly tap it the way that it's supposed to, it's going to be that ripple effect the whole way to finish it.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? Like, there's no point, like, I can go on and on and on about negativity, but there's no point in being negative, because you're able to get out of bed this morning. You were able to make your bed. You were able to brush your teeth. You're able to take a breath without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Where there's people that are stuck in a hospital bed right now that can't. Yeah. Or there's somebody that's after getting the worst news of their life. What are you complaining for? You're not made of sugar. The rain is not going to kill you. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the one thing that annoys you about when someone asks you what to do for a living? Like, so you knock on doors, or you're in events or you're in direct sales, what's the one thing that annoys you about it?
It is 100% our perception of it. It's people still think that we make commission on the sales that we make.
Yeah.
I don't even look at them as sales. They're like the way that it works. Because obviously, I would specialize, say, in the charity sectors
Yeah.
because I love it. But it's the passion that I actually put behind what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I actually believe in what I'm doing because I know full well that there's people out there, there's animals out there that need the help. Kids need the help. They can't be their own voice.
Yeah.
We have to be that voice for them. And when people are like, oh, you're making money off them, like say donations or whatever, we're not at all.
Yeah.
Like you'll see it actually through your updates. But like, cool, if that's your perception, cool. I will try and change your perception by being normal with you because nobody wants to stand there and talk to a robot. So I'm not going to try and be like, no. But if they have such a closed mindset, I'm not going to try and open it because I'm going to waste my own energy.
Yeah.
And I have to keep my energy for somebody that's going to come along and be like, oh, what are you doing here? That actually cares and actually wants to help. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
But as long as I get, say, for example, I'm sure you've heard of us at EMG Sales or have you heard of us or whatever it is. People are going to be like, no, but I don't have time. Okay, cool. Have a great day. I'm not leaving a sour taste in somebody's mouth.
Yeah.
But the awareness is getting out there because you now know the name. It's like, oh, what was she on about earlier on? Go and Google it then.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. So like it frustrates me when people say that it's a scam or that it's a pyramid scheme or this, that and the other. There's so much that people don't realize because their mindset is so closed.
Well, it's lack of education.
Big
But
time.
then it's people taking what they want to take and assume it. It's like, you know, look at any other industry or look at any other business. You know, what's the difference between our business and a real estate business? You know, the amount of people have said to me over the years on doors or on the stand, would you not just go and get a real job?
Yeah,
It's
see
like-
that?
Like the one thing that really irritates me is depending on the client. Like I remember working, you know, with a client that we raised 10 million for in a year. Raising 10 million in donations, on regular donations, that's going to change the lives of millions of children.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you tell me to go, is that not a real job? It's like being able to change the lives of millions of children who could potentially go on then to save more and more lives because they're getting an education to become a doctor.
Yeah.
They're getting an education to become a nurse, midwife, go and change the world, or maybe become a president of that country or wherever they may be, that then eradicates poverty. So how is that not doing a real job? You know, so that used to really bug me. And then you'll try and explain to people what it is that you do, and then they're like, oh yeah, but much you make of it. It's like, I don't get paid. Like whatever you give, I don't receive that. Like that's what your donation is doing, is going directly to where the cause is. But every company and business that's out there have a budget that they have to allocate to marketing, and we're a marketing company, but our marketing company is face to face.
Yeah. Like if I ask you right now, how much is the meal deal there in Tesco? You haven't a clue because you don't pay attention to billboards anymore. You don't pay attention to any of that stuff because you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
It's the same as when you're watching TikToks or Reels or anything like that. An ad comes up, you're straight away. You're not even paying attention to the ad. You're just trying to press the skip now. But
Yeah. No one watches them.
no,
Yeah.
at all.
But
So
then when
why
you
would they
see
bother
6 foot
investing?
Liam knocking on the door and they're like, well, what's the crack? And they're like, I haven't got a TV license. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm not here for your TV license. The amount of people that think that I was the TV license inspector, but I've used that so many times.
Yeah.
Or I'd always try and cover my breast, mate. Well, it sounds a bit weird to cover my breast, but I mean, cover the name of the client that I'm working with, jokingly breaking the ice with somebody, and they'd open the door and they're like, I'd hear the Hoover in the background. They'd open the door and I'd say, no need to be alarmed, you're okay. And I'd be very serious with them. And they were like, okay. I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to check your Hoover license, please. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's an electrical good. You need a Hoover license. And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, you do need a Hoover license. And they're like, would you mind going and getting it, please? And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you need a Hoover license, and it's a significant fine if you don't have it. And you can see the whole face just dropping. Some people just go fuck off, But then some other people, you can really play along with it.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, you little fucker, yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying to you. It's the magic door again. You don't know who's going to be behind that door. But the one thing that was always frustrating me, especially to there's loads of people that don't realize the impact that you can kind of make. You know, when you look at over the years, the millions that we've been able to generate for so many different clients, like millions.
Yep. I'm nearly at 1 million myself.
Of
Like myself.
Yeah. Individually.
One person.
Yeah.
Like what? Just from talking to people.
Yeah.
But like that, I've had people have me stand there and present the product to them, present the whatever it is that I'm there with, present that to them and be like, go get a real job. I'm like, what is a real job? Flipping burgers in McDonald's?
Yeah.
No thanks. Because I'd have
But
to.
people have to do that
like
too.
you.
But I mean,
Yeah, but is that a real job where you're working on rotation all the time, same thing over and over? Boring.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Some of the clients that we do represent, which are incredible, some of them are really, really good, right? But they're actually helping those people that say to you, go and get a real job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like these people are actually helping you. And our job that you say is not a real job is actually the reason why you're getting that help and support.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And why you're getting that help and support for free.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it costs a lot for, say, for example, one of them that provide a service, 390 euro for one part of a service, just for 12 hours, if even. No, to 8 hours. 8 hours.
Yeah, it's you know, it's the thing that always kept me going was the fact of, you know, knowing when you're, especially in rural areas, really rural areas in Ireland, which there's plenty of them, the amount of people that don't have the education of what different services are being provided by some of our clients.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was provided. I didn't know that I could avail of that service, right?
Yeah.
And although you're not there to get people to remortgage their house, you know, it's giving people an opportunity you open a window to them and kind of go, this is what they do. Would you like to help them? Yes or no? And that's okay. If you want to help them, brilliant, fantastic. Help them with their journey and they'll show you the ins and outs of it. But there's some people who genuinely can't afford to help, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can give them the information that can then go, well, listen, ring that number and they'll give you some advice that they're not going to charge you for. And you may even be able to avail of, you know, a service up and down to Dublin to get you to your appointments. It's because of us we've been able to create that connection, and therefore then people are able to literally their lives are being able to be changed. So that was one thing that used to really frustrate me. You know, was because of the lack of thanks that you would get, even sometimes family.
Oh yeah, it's all like family for me at the start was very, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like you're knocking on doors. I was like, yeah, like what? I don't care. I was like, sure, how are you going to get paid? And I was like, from my wages. And they're like, yeah, but where's your wages coming from? And I was like, the company. And then it was as I started to actually
break it down.
Yeah, like learn where things are. I was just going out on a limb because it was Rosie that PR'd me the first time. And then it was after COVID then that I rang you. I was like, are you hiring?
Yeah,
you were like, yeah, come down for an interview or whatever. So, and it was then that you actually explained it to me. And when something is explained, or when you're bothered to do your research or bothered to educate yourself on how things work, that's when things start to change. Your mind will be open then and be like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And I've had so many people apologize to me because they thought that it was something else. And it's like, no, it's not.
Well, I remember even last week we were in Mullingar and we were just sitting down having a chat, and a lady come up to us. And actually it was the interaction that she gave us when she got out of her car herself. And the interaction that we were able to be quite quick and alert with her.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, what's the story? And she's like, I don't know, her comment was, he's enjoying yourself there or something. We were just sitting down enjoying the sun.
You've the right idea sitting on the...
Oh, on the back of the trailer, or the backdrop of the Jeep.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, absolutely. How's your day? And it was just a conversation for 5 seconds, and she come out then with 2 tangle twisters.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there for a half an hour, and then she goes, so what is it he's doing? She's like, I could see her face change, and then she's like, "Oh my God, that's incredible."
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So when you kind of get that kind of pat in the back, sometimes it does give you that bit of a fire in your belly to to keep on going. Okay, that was a question that I had got in there, more so to the fact that it's not just me that gets frustrated from people's perception, but I know it's especially within our industry, you know, friends, families, and the way that people can explain it sometimes. I remember we were in Morocco actually, and we were at one of the high achievers, and we were just sitting there and we were having a chat with somebody, and people were like, "What do you do for a living?" And one of the guys was like, "Oh, we just stand outside shopping centres." I was like, I was like, "Don't devalue what you do."
Yeah.
I was like, "What you do is you're a voice for so many people." I was like, "You speak to people about a serious problem that's going on, and you highlight that there is a problem.
Yeah.
So you're the voice for so many people, and because of what you're doing is you're changing the lives for so many other people."
Yeah.
Don't devalue yourself. But I think what happens is that so many people can have a negative opinion of us because we're in direct sales, face to face, is that it allows people then, they feel that they can, I'm not going to say abuse, is probably the wrong word, but they can look down on us because we're not as, you know what I mean? It allows them. And that can seep into our colleagues as well, because, you know, they don't get, we try to give them as much praise. I always try to give them praise.
Oh, yeah, big time.
What we said earlier on was, why do we go to the likes of Tato Park, or why do we, you know, head away for the weekend? It's because the morale can be dropped because of the perception of so many different people that have on us. You know, is because we're not there to annoy people. We're there to talk about a problem that we've been trained to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, that would be otherwise delivered digitally. But yet they choose to invest in the face-to-face and choose to invest it in
human connection.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, that's one of the things that for the last 17 years has always been a bee in my bonnet for what we do, because I don't think people take it as seriously as they should. I don't think of any other. I think we've covered off a lot of.
What's your favorite memory in EMG so far?
I have so many memories of EMG, you know. I've so many. But one that kind of stands out to me was the success day that we had, and we had hit 300 in the week.
Oh, yes.
And we got the cake, and we were able to celebrate that.
The red carpet and the balloons. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was, you know, giving people a bit of an insight. This is our huge achievement that we had been able to achieve as a team, as a family together, you know, to go out there, you know, hail, rain, sun or snow, as we always say, we're out there and we're making a difference. Every conversation makes a difference.
Yeah.
So it was when we hit 300, we celebrated.
What's your funniest memory in EMG?
My funniest memory in EMG, stuff that I can say.
That you like belly laughed at.
There's been plenty of them moments with you, that's for sure.
That's just because I'm hilarious.
It's just the stuff that you come out with is just. What would be the funniest thing? I'm trying to think. I'm really bad at these.
Well, if you tell yourself you're going to be bad at it, you're going to.
No, but I'm really bad. All right, now don't start using this against me.
No,
but I'm really bad at remembering, you know, these little snippets. I know there's tons in there, but I'm trying to think the funniest thing. You're looking at me as if I should know. Should I know?
I don't know.
What's the funniest thing you remember of EMG?
With me?
Yeah.
The time that me and you were on doors in Blanchardstown, and you got a lady. She wanted to buy anyway. She wanted to
sign up,
and you got stung by a wasp.
I got stung by a wasp.
You were wearing a yellow t-shirt, and you just kept slapping your shoulder. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And you were like, "Yeah, I don't know. I think a fly has gone down there." And the wasp ended up killing the wasp under your t-shirt, but he stung you on
my back.
Yeah. And you were like,
I vaguely remember it.
Did that happen? And I was in that. I couldn't do that. And you were like, you didn't even try and help me. I was like, what did you want me to do?
Yeah, in the middle of a pitch there.
Oh, it was hilarious.
But that's probably what made it a bit more special.
Yeah.
And did she sign on?
Yeah.
Did she come on? Did she?
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
It's a good moment.
That was very funny.
Yeah.
And then there's like the likes of the jet skis and stuff.
Well,
like
that actually, do you know something? Now I'm glad that you brought that in. And that was probably one of the funniest moments in EMG history. And that was another high achievers where
That was in
you,
Marbella.
yeah, they get on the back of a jet ski and yeah.
Paul even says,
Oh my
still to this day,
God,
it's the
that
funniest
was the
thing.
funniest thing in the world, is that the jet ski was going straight, but you literally just, I don't know what you done.
The yoke was going like 100 mile an hour.
Yeah,
Like,
that
what
was,
could I do?
yeah, it was hilarious.
So
You
I just flipped the yoke.
yeah, just.
Yeah, why not?
I think you tried to take your man off it. Did he fall off as well?
Yeah.
He did, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, he did, yeah.
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, he has no loyalties to me. He can leave me in the middle of the ocean, no problem. Me there. No, I didn't even have a life jacket.
No, he didn't actually.
No.
Because I remember he pulled up on the boat and he was like, "Do you just want to go?" And I was like, "Libby, get on there, will you?" And you're like, "Not getting on that." And you're like, "Come on." And I was like, "You will, you'll enjoy it." And you got on the back of it.
Yeah.
And then your man took off. To be fair, it was one of these fucking supercharged jet skis.
Oh my God.
And
mad.
you were, but we could see you sliding back immediately and trying to hold on.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not going to end good.
No.
And your man just turned the jet ski ever so slightly. And you obviously were meant to lean with him. He leaned in, but your body kept on going straight. And next of all, just as he turned you fell off. So, do you know something? Thanks for bringing that back up.
That
Because that was
so funny.
yeah, that
So funny.
that was hilarious. What else?
And then me breaking the door in Portugal.
Well, I had an incident like that as well in Barcelona.
That's completely different. Mine was a net door that I had to walk, you had to open to walk through, but it was closed and I didn't see that it was closed. And I just walked through it and broke the net. You, on the other hand, that's completely different.
Yeah, that's a completely different.
We'll have to get Barry on to tell that story.
Yeah, we'll keep that story from for another day, because that is definitely a story that we can share again.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, the last thing then I'll probably cover off is, what exactly is EMG Sales and what makes it different than any other company?
The experience that we give. It's not just a job, it's not just a career, it's an experience to anybody that works with EMG. And I say with EMG because from I've come into the business, I don't work for EMG, I don't work for Liam O'Reilly or anything like that. It's I work with. And that's something that you've always corrected as well, as the way the language that you use within the business is very much, it involves people, not involving numbers. Where I feel like a lot of companies are like, you work for me, do this or you're fired.
Yeah.
Where it's, okay, you're underperforming, how can we fix it together? Do you know, that kind of way? So, you know, the experience that we give to the employees, to the client, to the donors, to any customer really, you know, and then like that, it's the platform as well that we provide, because there's no limit to where you can go, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So that's what EMG is.
Fast forward, where are you in 5 years?
5 years, I have.
You like, I don't tell him.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm gonna take your company from you. But yeah, so either business partnership or my own company, that kind of thing.
In direct sales?
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And because obviously, like, direct sales can bring you anywhere. Like, I mean, I look at somebody that I know is playing Monopoly in a town with different businesses. Do you know, that kind of way? And I'm like, I'm going to do that. Like, I mean, I'm qualified in the likes of makeup and nails and stuff like that, but I love doing it, but it's not where my passion is. Like,
Yeah.
My passion is this, because I can help myself, my future family, I don't know, like my friends, anybody that comes into the business, the people on the other end. Like, it's just an all round feel good feeling at the end of the day. Like, no matter how shit your day is going, at 11:59, the clock's going to change and it's going to be a brand new day.
Is that the way you think, though? Is that, you know, when 12 o'clock comes, switch, whatever happened that day is behind you.
Yeah.
Now you have a new day. Okay.
Yeah. It's a brand new page. Like, there's something that was said to me, write your own story. And every single day, come 12 o'clock, when that clock strikes 12, that's a blank page. Turn in the page. What are you going to
But that's a hard thing, because that's obviously, that's something that's spoke about, you know, every new year, people are like, you know what, you have 365 days to write your own story. What's it going to look like?
Yeah, but
And
it's too common. That's
yeah,
why people don't do
but
it.
this is what I'm saying, like 2 or 3 days into it, it's like, you're still doing your routine. They're like, no, they kind of, they lose that bit of momentum.
Yeah.
But what advice have you got to allow people continue to write that story?
Discipline.
What's discipline?
Like, it's your mindset towards it. Like, if you can be like everybody else,
Yeah.
or you can be different, right? You can be like everybody else come New Year and be like, I'm going to change this about myself. I'm going to change this about myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But in reality, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're one of the very few people that is really strongly disciplined, that has a massive goal that you want to hit, and you're determined. Or you can take it one step at a time every single day. Because if you give 1% every day, that's 365% at the end of the year. Whereas if you give 100% for the first 3 days of January and then give up, you've only given.
Well, you haven't given it the time it deserves.
Yeah, like why would you bother? Like, and then at the end of the day, again, 11:59, whatever has happened, leave it there. There's nothing that you can do to change what has already happened.
Yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah,
Leave it there.
yeah.
It's there
like,
for a reason.
Like, I remember one day I had a shit day on field. I was so embarrassed coming into the office. And you literally turned around. This was when I was like fairly new. I think I was only like 6 weeks or 7 weeks in the business. And you were like, what happened to you yesterday? And I was like, I don't know. And then I started going off on a tangent, as I do, about what was going wrong, what didn't go well, whatever. And you literally turn around and you go, forget about it. There's fuck all you can do about it.
It's done.
And I was like, yeah, but I could have. Yeah, but you could have, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like me saying, I could have done better in my leaving cert. That's 7 years ago. Shut up. There's no point in complaining. Be positive and proactive
I think
about it.
that's a problem with a lot of people, though, isn't it? They just constantly live in the past.
Yeah, like,
I said to someone the other day, it's like, if you're driving a car, which way are you looking? Are you looking in the rear view mirror, or are you looking in front of you? And they're like, looking in front of you. I was like, why are you continuously looking back and things?
Do you know the only reason that there's a rear view mirror there is to see how far you've come,
There you go.
not your observations.
There you go.
Don't NDLS, don't take my license off me. But that, like, it was that man in America with the mustache. Is it Steve Harvey?
Could it be? What does
Could
he
be
do?
Dr. Phil. I don't know. Something
No,
like
Steve
that.
Harvey.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was one of them men.
He's a
Both of them have
motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a podcast. Was it a podcast? Or probably one of them like 5-minute
Did you watch it or
motivational
did you
videos.
listen to it?
Both.
Okay.
Right? And it was one of those 5-minute videos.
Yeah.
And it was when you're looking, when you're driving, I've used it even in training and stuff like that. There's no point because your rear view mirror is so small. If you're driving looking in your rear view mirror, you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Or if you turn your head like the other way, like you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
Like you need to keep your eyes on the prize. Like there's a reason that that's only a small rear view mirror is because you're not supposed to drive looking in there. So why would you live in the past?
What's behind you is behind you for a reason.
Yeah. You know, open the magic door.
Open the magic door. Yes, I like it. I was kind of going into a bit of a sing song there, but I won't do that.
Liam likes to sing songs all the time.
Put everything into a sing song.
Yeah.
So
tobacco in my pocket.
Just before we wrap it up, right? What does Libby like to do then when she's not obviously working in EMG sales? What do you get up to?
Spend time with my family. Now recently I've completely changed what I do with my spare time. I used to go to work in EMG, finish work in EMG, go home and bed rot. And I'd be watching telly, I'd be watching How I Met Your Mother or The Big Bang Theory or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then come Thursday, I'd be like, right, I'll go for a pint. And then Friday, straight after work, I'd be in the pub.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, I'd be in the pub. Sunday, probably there until about 12 o'clock in the day. And then, well, that's an early house. And then I go home and start getting ready for work then. Whereas I hit some sort of patch and I was just like, this has to change. So now what I do is I actually started doing the nails and the eyebrows and makeup and stuff like that. And it's not work to me. It's literally just passing the time. It's spending time with the girls, catching in, or, spending time doing something that I like.
Yeah.
And then I'm going back to personal training as well. That's something else that I like doing. So like filling my time with things that's helping me grow. And like I started reading. I can't remember the last time I read a book. I'm reading the same book since the end of January.
What is it?
Good Vibes, Good Life.
Okay, I have that.
I actually got it at the awards.
Yeah.
When it came in the
Little bag.
Yeah, for top 10. And I was like, oh, I can't read. And it was
What is it just, can you not concentrate on it?
Yeah, it's my focus, like, oh my God. But something that Paul said to me, or maybe it was Baz, it was, don't sit down with the intention of reading the full book. Read 5 pages.
Couple of pages.
And I was like, yeah. So then I tried to do that and it still wasn't working. I was like, right, Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. And I'd sit and I'd be like, right. And in the book, there's your chapters, but there's like sub chapters as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll read at least one sub chapter a night before I go to bed. At least one.
Every night.
Every night. Well, I'll do it for like 2 weeks and then I'll forget about it for a week and then I'll do it again.
And have you noticed then the times you're not doing it, you kind of go off course a little bit? Yeah.
Big time. So routine is big. Something else that I've gotten into recently is the reflexology. I've been getting that done. One of the girls in the town, she does it and oh my God, it's unreal.
It's working.
Oh my God, it's so good. Like it's just a thing that I'm lying there for an hour, no phone, no contact with. It's literally just an hour of stillness for me, and it's like, it's like a recharge. So it's brilliant.
I use that now as an Avatar moment. Do you know the scene in Avatar? You don't watch it? You didn't watch it?
No, I seen it years ago in the cinema.
Yeah, well, where the guy is jumping on the back of this big bird, and he kind of connects it there. So I use that as a bit of a re-energize connection with, whether that's be family or whether that be with the group, or because we're so spread apart from Limerick and we're in Navan and we're in Cavan, I always try to keep the guys somewhat connected with the WhatsApp, and that's another reason why we try and do catch-ups and stuff, because that connection is important. But we are looking to try and continue to expand right across Ireland, and it's about having the right platform but having the right people to allow you to do that. So catching up every couple of weeks is really, really important. Okay, any questions?
What's next for EMG?
What's next
that
for
you can disclose?
Yeah, well, so for us, we're now doing a partnership with Magic Door Studios, so we're able to offer this service to other people like EMG Sales that may be a little bit frustrated with the current situation that their business is in for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to our own, is that everyone's kind of fishing out of the same pond. When it comes to, even for us, for advertising or recruitment opportunities, or just sharing our business with even this, to actually give people a real insight into us, because a lot of people can see on a website, or they can see on a Instagram page, and they can see videos and pictures, and everything is a lot of, I think a lot of it is very much staged at times, where people
absolutely social media is so fake.
You're looking at it going, is that really what it's like inside? Or I don't think you get 60 seconds or 30 seconds on an Instagram story. I don't think people are getting the full capture of us, and I think being able to come in here and talk about who Liam O'Reilly is and the person behind EMG Sales, or come in and talk to Libby Mooney, the person who's first female exec manager that has come in with little or no experience and being able to change her world, gives people a real insight into our business and what's available. And that's, I suppose, what I'm excited about now, is because we get to do that with thousands of different other businesses right across Ireland, and not just Ireland. There's the UK and other countries that we can explore into as well, because again, it's a great form of communication, and it's about getting those people behind the names of brands and getting them into a studio like the Magic Door Studio and go, right, let's sit down for 2 hours and let's share your story with people and show them why you have got a good product, or why you have got a good service, or why you feel your product or service is better than what's a bigger company may be providing, because I think there's so many big international corporations out there, huge companies out there that are able to dump millions into marketing,
Silly money.
right? Like silly money. So naturally enough, you're going to think, oh, these guys are the first people I see popping up on on Google or on Amazon or other different platforms. But there's so many small companies out there that do amazing products that can't get there. They're completely, overshadowed by these big companies. And for me, I'm working with James. It's about now being able to work with small companies, CEOs, marketing directors, and being able to go, right, let's take your product and let's help you get it to the right people.
Mm.
That's
reaching the right audience.
yeah, that's what we're about with EMG sales. It's about, right, let's take it to the right people that's going to see what your product and brand is and give value to those people who want it. So that's one side of what EMG is going to be all about over the next couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. And then we obviously have our other side of the business where we have more commercial clients coming in, and more territory that's kind of opening up for us down in the likes of the Limerick area. So a lot of Munster, we're going to be expanding down there. And obviously want to expand our operations in Navan, Cavan, and obviously going back to Limerick. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah.
And outside of EMG as well, personal life is really, really good. And, there's some exciting things that's going to obviously merge with EMG over time, that we're kind of building in to allow our, employees to benefit from as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I have great goals of a big vision that I want to share with as many people as possible. Rather than just being restricted into one place. I want to be able to kind of share a lot of our stories and show people what other platforms are out there that you can benefit from. Like I said, bringing people away to Morocco a couple of weeks ago was a big investment from us as a company, but we reinvest we reinvest a lot back into our people because we want to show them that we do appreciate them, and that it's not just all one-way traffic. Is that when people get rewarded for the work that they do, and hard work never goes unnoticed in EMG, and it's always about, look at, let's do this. So we've made a decision against Louise sometimes because she's the CFO, but it's about making that investment into those who are willing to make the investment into EMG and allow us to grow, because the more we can grow as a business, the more it allows people to come in and use the platform to get the best out of what they want to get to and enjoy their working environment, but also gives us more exposure with clients that we can offer them more of our services, because there has been situations where clients have come to us and we haven't been able to take on their project because we haven't got the manpower to do so.
Yeah.
So the business development model is in place to allow people to come in and to be able to grow within stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So you come in as a sales executive, you work your way up to become a team leader, which we have some incredible team leaders right now. And then obviously into, management position where you're then coaching and managing the operations on the field. And that's the position that you're in. So the more people that we have at that level, it allows us to then speak to more clients and allow more clients to take, to come in to EMG and us for them to take on their project. So yeah, we're growing. We obviously had to press the restart button back in COVID. And that really that was a really slow period for us, because we had to rebuild everything back up again. And I suppose 5 years on, and we've never been as strong as a company.
Yeah.
As I said, over 30 full-time employees. We've 3 locations in Ireland, and we have some great foundations that's been laid over the last 5 years with experienced people like yourself coming into the business and now partner with more clients and more brand exposure and more territory opening up. So yeah.
Brilliant. It's all about growth.
All about growth. It's all about developing and growing and stepping outside your comfort zone as well. So I think the more you step outside that comfort zone, I think that's when a lot of things can change for you.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
Great first day on the pod.
Fantastic first day on the pod.
Yup, Sally.
Yup.
Get up out of that garden.